I'm Alex.
I'm Dan.
I'm James.
And I'm Josh.
We're the Ragamuffins.
And this is our preview for Download Festival 2023.
So we've all been to Download quite a few times. This is going to be my third Download, I think.
And mine.
And mine.
And my fourth.
Wow.
Veteran.
We're very, very excited about this lineup. There are so many great bands across all of the stages. So today we're basically just going to get ourselves, and hopefully you as well, hyped. We're going to start by looking at Thursday. Who are we most excited for?
Well, don't let my shirt fool you, Alex. Because on the first day, I would probably say that I'm most excited for Mom Jeans.
I was actually fooled.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Metallica as a joke then.
No. Contrary to what my shirt says, I've been meaning to catch Mom Jeans for so long. And I know you guys have caught them a few times.
Yeah, I saw them in February earlier this year, and it was literally just like one big loser emo party. It was
We love to
fucking
see it.
sick, which
We
is
love to see it.
pretty much our jam. So, yeah, you guys are going to love it.
Yeah, I still haven't seen them either, so I'm very excited to see them. And if the timings go as we expect them to, we'll be seeing them and then probably Metallica right after, which is a bit of a crazy kind
so
of...
They're basically opening for Metallica.
Yeah.
Well, saying that, guys, I think actually here it's expected that potentially Perturbator could be sort of who I'll be seeing essentially before Metallica. Essentially, it's like a sort of like dark synthwave sort of. It's an interesting booking, I think, in terms of for the Download crowd. Really, it's not. I don't think there's any sort of like. It's not really a guitar-based band, and I don't think there's even much vocals. If anything, it's. But essentially, if you're into Perturbator or anything similar, Carpenter Brute as well on this lineup. But the thing is, I'm probably preaching to the choir here because I feel like those two bands go hand in hand. I think bookings like that really go to show that, like you've discussed in other episodes, like they really have sort of. I think they've diversified this lineup very heavily and sort of
Massively so this year.
kind of gone to all corners. I feel of the sort of, alternative spectrum.
I think you can see that though, like on another one that's going to be against Metallica, is State Champs. You've got like pop punk there as well, which we've seen multiple times. There's a great photo of you on my shoulders from a previous Download, where it does give that diversity, like you say. It does show that they're widening the scope a little bit more, and we'll touch on other bands throughout this as well. But given those alternatives that people are going to have that don't necessarily want to see Metallica, it's quite nice to see them thinking of the other crowds and what bands could really kind of go against that as well.
State Champs are always very fun live as
Oh,
well.
yeah,
I think
for sure.
every time we've seen them, we've just had such a fun time. At the end of the set with smiles on our faces
Always.
and sore throats from singing along to every
Big
single word.
sing-alongs.
One band that I'm very excited to see on main stage is Ginger.
Oh yeah,
I think it's just going to be fucking sick. They more than deserve that spot, and I think they're going to win over... Well, they've already got a massive fan base that are going to love it and then win over so many more people by being in front of such a massive audience. So that's a very, very exciting set to be at.
I completely agree. Like if you're a fan of Monuments, Tesseract, and even I'm going to be basic and say literally Spirit Box as well, then Ginger is an absolute must-see. Do not miss them.
There's like a guilty pleasure for me here, and slightly for Alex, and I don't know if he's going to go for it at all. And it is controversial, and it's Five Finger Death Punch. So much of it is the same, and I will not dispute that in the slightest. However, those first two albums do have something a little bit different. Like with Way of the Fist and War is the Answer, there was something that was kind of like, it had a bit of like a Slipknot-y style to it. There was something new metal in there. They got compared a lot to like Pantera as well back in the early days. Some of those first two albums, there are some fantastic songs, and I think some good jams that I've seen live once before, ages and ages ago, and were really fun.
Yeah, I mean, for me, don't get me wrong, the temptation to see that band is pretty huge, but there's a band on Thursday that I don't think we've really talked about yet that I think personally are unmissable, and I don't know if Dan, James, you might feel the same, but it's going to be night one of Metallica on Thursday night. I'm very, very excited. It's going to be 2 different sets, Thursday and Saturday. So for me, that sort of makes... Like the thought of missing one of those sets and missing some of the bangers that they then won't play on Saturday is too much to bear. So I'm going to have to be at Metallica that night, unfortunately, instead of Death Punch.
There is like old nostalgia there, I think, for it.
Yeah. But where are you guys on seeing Metallica? Because I don't think you guys are,
Yeah, I'll
are
see
all
them.
fully convinced.
I like the hits. I've never been a huge Metallica fan, really. But yeah, I'll see them at least one of the nights. It just kind of depends what else is on for me, I think.
I think I'm more tempted to see them on the Saturday. I'm quite excited to see Disturbed once we get round to that, which I'll talk more about that later on. So I think I'm going to be there to see Metallica after that. I've never been a huge Metallica fan as well. I've kind of looked into some of the A and the B sets they've been playing on the tour at the moment, where they're doing 2 different nights, and I think the night 2 is better for me anyway, so it kind of does work for me as long as they're keeping that kind of order for this. It's a bit like seeing some of the bands last year where I'd sit and watch, or stand and watch a bit of Kiss, a bit of Iron Maiden, and be like, cool, I've seen them. And it'll be a little bit for me personally of being like, cool, I've seen Metallica, but it's not like other headliner bands here that we'll talk about later on, where I'm going to be front and centre in the pits having the time of my life.
I think I'd just be catching both sets all the way through, throwing the horns and going, yeah!
Shall we take a little look at Friday then, where, in my opinion, I think it's going to be very hard to move away from the main stage on this day.
Yeah.
Particularly from Neck Deep onwards. There will be Neck Deep, Pendulum, Architects, Bring Me the Horizon, all in one run.
That's going to be phenomenal.
That's going to be a bit crazy, isn't it?
I think like maybe the crowning jewel of this year's download is that I think the stages are crafted so well that you can get hooked at one stage and just be there potentially all day. This is, I think, probably the best shining example of that, because that run, I mean, don't get me wrong, Stand Atlantic, Nova Twins and Hot Milk are all going to be great. Nova Twins especially on main stage is really exciting, but Neck Deep onwards is just perfect. You just sit there and sit there all day and have
So
a
they'll
great
stand
time.
there.
And those 4 bands are all, well, not all of them, but they've all got something a bit different about them. Neck Deep are a pop punk band. Pendulum are obviously drum and bass with sort of elements of alternative in there as well. Architects, metalcore. Bring Me the Horizon is sort of metalcore with elements of pop in there now. So yeah, it's not just like a straight run of the same thing as well. It's mixed up quite a lot, which I think is a theme across a lot of the lineup. Really, I think, like Josh mentioned earlier, we've already talked about how it's sort of become a bit more diverse this year, which is a great thing because there's so much choice.
Where do I start with this Friday? Because like as these guys have said, like that Apex main stage is sort of just on a complete roll for like the entirety of the day essentially, but there are some absolute sort of like standouts sort of across the other stages as well, such as we've got Ragamuffin favourites Pup.
I was thinking if there's one band that could potentially drag me away from that 4-band run on the main stage, it's Pup.
Yeah.
And maybe the Blackout just before them as well.
Well, yeah, not their first show back now.
No, they're doing a little hometown show, aren't they?
Which is really cool of the festival organisers to let them do, because first time downloaders ever sold out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, amazing. And
On a good lineup.
because the lineup fucking rocks. So.
First time ever.
I'm not sure if it ever
Crazy.
sold out under Monsters of Rock, but I mean, as Download Festival, I believe this is the first sellout, yeah.
The future is now, old man.
Future's now, old man.
Yeah, it seems to be before Pendulum, where you can enjoy the loving grindcore sort of beat down band Ingested, who have delightful song names such as, I don't know if this is going to stay in, but Skinned and Fucked, etc.
Loving.
And essentially, if you absolutely love a double bass pedal basically drilling through your skull,
Yes.
then Ingested is where you want to be. And disgusting, revolting song titles to the point where it literally goes to the point of like parody, surely.
I will come with you.
Yeah.
I thought you were setting up a joke to say Alvana, which has made this even funnier in my head.
So I'm super stoked to see them. I've been a fan of Ingested for years, and they've always sort of like eluded me somehow. So it's great to see them at Donington, as well as another band who's sort of like really done quite well recently and sort of is rising the ranks quite quickly is Pupil Slicer. Quite like unrelenting, sort of like hardcore-ish, metalcore-ish, sort of like dark, brooding songs that are just kind of like relentless. And I feel like they're a band.
And one of the hardest band names out there.
Pupil Slicer. And then essentially it seems like it's going to be quite a full-on day, because it seems like we're starting literally with Witch Fever at what, 2? And the reason, some people at home might be like, well, 2 is quite late on in the day. Yeah, sorry. Have you ever been to a night at the Doghouse?
Hey.
Two's like the crack of dawn, basically. Oh no!
Not the orange drink.
Oh, he spilt his drink.
Alex, Witch Fever.
Basically, Witch Fever have this really cool sort of gothic, moody, atmospheric post-punk thing going on that I just bloody love. Been enamoured with them ever since we saw them supporting Cancer Bats. They're at Download and Trees this year, and I will be at both sets. Should throw an ass, basically.
So another band that's going to be at Download and Trees is Empire State Bastard. We've heard a few teasers and stuff recently. Brand new this year. I think it's just very intriguing to go and see them. And the other one I'd be interested in is Gua. I've always seen stuff about like stage shows and then being entertaining as fuck and just a laugh. So I'm kind of just intrigued.
If, like us, you're thinking of going to Gua, make sure you bring a poncho, because it just gets messy. That's all we can say. If you don't know, bring a poncho.
I think it's worth like looping back to Empire State Bastard for a second and like mentioning that's Simon Neil from Biffy Clyro, Mike Vennett, who tours with Biffy Clyro, is their touring guitarist, and not certain for Download, but on their recent shows they've been playing, they've had Dave Lombardo of Slayer.
Oh,
playing
interesting.
drums.
Fuck.
So that's essentially like a few massive names there that are playing on the Dogtooth stage, which is the smallest stage at the festival.
I feel like that's going to be absolutely fucking carnage. And I will be there for that.
I think the main takeaway from this day in particular is that a lot of it is, for want of a better word, they're younger bands. They're bands that they're kind of giving a chance. Like Bring Me the Horizon headlining is the obvious one, but then you've got Architects underneath them. Bands like Neck Deep on the main stage. They're pulling up and giving some big steps, big stepping stones with some bands here.
It's definitely going to be exciting to see what sort of production and just general stage show that Architects bring as the sub-headliner.
Yeah.
Because it without getting too like ahead of ourselves, this is potentially a glimpse into a potential future headliner as well.
It's almost like an audition for them.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So it's very exciting for us as fans to just anticipate what could be coming for that set. So
and seeing them like on an arena tour at the moment with Metallica, playing that kind of size venue is amazing, because we've seen them in small shows before to the big shows they're playing in the UK now. Seen them at Ali Pali a couple of times, seen them at Wembley Arena. Big fans of them, seen them in multiple different venues, but now seeing them finally at Download Festival after such a long time of not being there, they deserve it. They deserve being high on the bill for that. And the other one is being Bring Me, because they deserve that spot, like we said. We saw them a while ago on the Post-Human Survival Horror Tour, and the production level was absolutely fucking insane. The lighting, everything they had with the dancers around there, it seemed so well thought out. And I could kind of compare it to Slipknot in terms of a show, because there was visuals everywhere where, with Slipknot, seen them before, if you haven't, there's 9 people obviously all around stage, shit's happening everywhere. You kind of don't know where to look sometimes. And that was kind of with Bring Me the Horizon. They had the lighting going on, they've got screens behind, you're seeing them go everywhere. Ollie was really interactive and kind of
they really
energetic.
engage all the senses, really, don't
Yeah, it was very much an overload of that. But I had a disappointing experience seeing them first time at All Points East. To me, it didn't live up to the hype with it. And then seeing them on that tour was phenomenal. And it kind of has now brought me back around, and I have that excitement now this year for Download, which is amazing.
Sorry, just another band I've spotted on the Friday.
Sorry.
Long day.
So another one I've just spotted on the Avalanche stage that Friday is D-Mob Happy, who, if you're a fan of, say, Tiger Cub or Fang Club, then they are sort of like right up your street. That's sort of like modern rock, where basically you find that just the longer they keep going, they could become like the next Biffy Clyro or something like that. So yeah, check them out.
Yeah, let's take a little look at Saturday.
Bloody hell, what a stacked day.
Yeah. I think for me, the standout straight away is one of my favourite bands from the past year, and that's Straight from the Path. Seeing them on their headline show last year off the back of Euthanasia coming out was incredible. They fucking killed it. Seeing them with supporting Beartooth at Over Arena recently was amazing to see them in that bigger size venue, and I think they just keep killing it at the minute and can't really put a step wrong. And so I'm extremely excited to see them. And on the second stage, which I think is is a cool place to see them, I think, and not like buried in a tent.
Speaking of cool bands to see on second stage, Static Dress.
Oh yeah.
That's a really exciting one. Last year, I believe they played the Avalanche stage.
Yeah, and it was
And
at like
early
11 o'clock in the morning or
crazy.
something.
God,
I think we were still on our way back from the doghouse.
Yeah. But to see them now moving up to second stage is massive for them. They've had an incredible year since the last Download. And just, I'm sure it's going to be an incredible set.
to be honest, looking at this day, I'm really excited for Coheed and Cambria, essentially. I find with them, they're sort of like a incredibly progressive sort of rock band who like to go in on their concept albums, etc. I find the thing is with them is I'd love to sort of recommend them to like literally everybody, but I feel that essentially the vocalist singing style I could completely appreciate is definitely not for everybody. But I feel like if you do give them a try and you can sort of gel with his sort of like vocal delivery, then oh my goodness, so excited. The only issue is it's kind of proposed that it will be clashing with Placebo and potentially Monuments as well, which I think is going to be very tough for me.
Tough.
Might include a lot of running about, or I think I might just stay for all of Coheed's set because luckily I've seen Placebo before. Disturbed?
Oh yeah, I think I've been ticking off the list of the new metal bands I've seen over the years, and like this is another one for me.
It's interesting with Disturbed because I don't know, I feel like I've actually never seen any footage of their live shows or anything like that, but it's like the other day when we saw Papa Roach support Don Broco, you know, that's a band that's literally been kicking around for so long, and it seriously surprised me when Papa Roach unironically absolutely slapped, like genuinely, and I just have this sneaky feeling that I reckon Disturbed will have that same sort of aspect where you like, oh yeah, one of the sort of new metal oldies, and then they'll probably get on, they're going to crush it. So yeah, I keep
a bit like I think Korn did last year. Korn were one of the
So
on Sunday
good.
I think stole the show for me completely. I kind of hope that as well. If we can get that on with Disturbed as well, that'd be so fucking cool.
I'm very excited for Nothing Nowhere. He's switched up the style a bit on the new album. It's gone very new metal, and I think he's absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to,
You two saw him in Oxford
to see him
not too
live
long ago?
again. We did.
We did, and that felt almost like a teaser of what was coming. It was like, obviously a lot of the hits and a lot of the style that you come to expect from Nothing Nowhere, and it almost felt like maybe towards the end of the set is where suddenly a couple of these heavier songs get thrown in, and some proper breakdowns actually kick in, and it's like, holy shit, this was supposed to be a sad boy emo night, but
Well, I can't remember, but just before the album came out, he was announced to be supporting, like, I can't remember which band it was, but it was a fairly well-known metalcore band on a US tour, and loads of people complaining about it, being like, oh, why have you got like a sad boy rapper on the lineup? And then he responded perfectly, saying something along the lines of, it's almost as if there's an album coming out soon that will absolutely explain why I'm on this lineup. And then, yeah, it's sort of a new metal album with loads of breakdowns, loads of really cool features as well, so maybe we'll get some features from other bands on the lineup. Yeah, excited for that one.
very much so.
It'd be quite cool to see Casey again after the
Definitely.
reunion and seeing them as our first gig of the year back in January. Recently teasing they've got album 3 on the works at least, or kind of ideas seem to be floating around. I think that'd be nice and fun. Like the emotion and energy in that room was something very special, I think, and to kind of see that in a festival now after those kind of first initial shows, I think would be really, really cool. Another one for me would be Polaris.
absolutely yes.
Just some absolutely incredible metalcore. Dan reminded me that I've seen them before at least, but not knowingly as like a fan of them now.
Okay.
Like on a previous tour a long time ago, and now like kind of after getting into that music, extremely excited to see them live. Slightly worried and hoping they don't clash with Stray. You're my timing guy.
That's okay. I believe it's sort of proposed that they'll be clashing with Static Dress, actually.
That's okay. That's fine. I'm not too worried because those are my main two. I think on the Saturdays, like bands I have to go and see.
I also love the fact that that's pretty much how you'll be kicking off your day.
It's such a good one too, isn't it? Straight away.
Yeah, that's a wake up call if there ever was one, to be honest.
Very excited by that.
I'm also noticing here as well, just sort of like bang center in the day on the main stage, is Clutch. Sort of like the pinnacle, I would say, one of the sort of like non-sludgy stoner rock bands who have been going strong for so many years now. Their 95 album, or 98, Space Grass is like literally like right up there for me. And yeah, I think that would be like a really good, or I hate to use this one, but palate cleanser potentially,
Okay.
Grab some food, some noodles, and just sort of like I
Vibe and eat
just
your food.
vibe and chow down on some chow mein. Oh, Dan, Def Havana.
Def Havana. Yeah, I've always loved Def Havana, but again, their new album's great, but the last few times that I've kind of tried to get back into them and looked at their set lists and stuff, it's just all been the new album and not kind of the old stuff that I know and love. So, I might go and come and give them a try and sort of see what the vibe is. But yeah, I'm not terribly excited for them, I'll be honest.
It's a massive plus for me though, because I love that latest album. I
do like it as
yeah.
well. It's just I want to hear the old stuff.
I think that's maybe why it was maybe a bit easier for me, because that was the first Death of Anna album I ever listened to, so I didn't have any of that like previous sort of like their back catalogue in my head. But I'm very excited for their set. I think it's going to be very fun.
Sunday fun day.
I mean, I'm just going to kick it right off the bat and Slipknot. Christ, I think this is like the 5th time I've seen them live.
Christ.
Absolutely incredible every time. I will stand and say that they are the best live band I've ever seen. There is just something different about them. People I know who have seen them before, who haven't necessarily been fans at the time, have watched it and at least been like, that is a fucking show. And it's the biggest crowd I've ever seen before, was by them, down in 2019. I remember being about 3 rows from the front after fighting my way there, looking back and just seeing up the hill, absolutely stacked still with people, just standing there watching. An absolute sea of people, something that was amazing to see that this band was able to pull there. Latest album still is one that I need to keep listening to. It's not an instant one for me. I very much am one of those people that are going to be listening to like the old album still and wanting to see like the classics. Looked at some of the recent set lists and I'm happy with it, to be honest. A few songs that I think have been dropped off which I would rather hear, but it's a must see for me. I'm going to be there the whole set. I shall see you in the mosh pits for Slipknot for sure.
I'm going to take us from the top of the last band on the main stage now to the first band on the Dogtooth stage. Beauty School I discovered sort of towards the end of last year, and I just love them instantly. They're a pop punk band and they're not trying to do anything crazy or new. They just do pop punk really, really well. Really good hooks, really good choruses, and they're really, really fun live as well. So that's how I'm going to be kicking off my Sunday. And I think we're all in agreement that we'll be following that up with Graphic Nature.
Oh,
for sure.
Fuck yeah. If you're not going to Graphic Nature's set, you're an idiot.
I don't think they're clashing with Lorna Shore, but if they have booked it that way, then that would be just
brutal. Yeah.
Because I want to see Lorna Shore.
Who does not want to see Lorna Shore?
I want to hear those
trigger all
live.
the comments. I hate Lorna Shore.
I've not seen too much live footage of this. Do people like sing along with the pig squeal bit?
I think it's more people literally just stand there to watch him do that.
Okay.
Like it is like a novelty thing almost with that. But I've seen their pits in some videos and they are very active.
Looking at second stage, there's one band there, Josh, that I know you're very keen on. Bad Religion.
Oh yes. So I do for the people watching at home or listening, and you had your heart set on seeing the Distillers. I'm sorry, but at the same time, I'm super stoked because I love Bad Religion. I think it's a massive win for me, and see you in the pit, and I'll be bopping along, and we're all laughing. God, amateurs. What?
Massive win for me.
We got like a triple threat of hardcore literally later on in the day on the Dogtooth stage. We've literally got Terror into Touche Amore into Hatebreed. Exquisite.
I would love to see Hatebreed. I think unfortunately there's a potential clash with
Electric Callboy potentially.
God.
I'd love to
That's
see
a
that
really
one.
tough choice for me. But that booking, that 3 run of Terror, Touche Amore, and then Hatebreed is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Take a gum shield though.
Yeah. You may be watching or listening and thinking like, why are they talking about all these clashes when they don't exist? I mean, we're just going off from the estimations. Today's the 10th of May, so that's just prefacing that essentially.
But yes, check the stage times yourself. Don't take our word for it.
I'm going to keep us on the Dogtooth stage for a second, for a band that I'm very intrigued to see, and I think if anyone else here has heard of them, it's going to be Josh. Soul Glow.
Yes, really excited. Great booking, loads of energy. I think people are going to pull up and sort of go a bit crazy for that, and I think it's going to be impeccable.
What kind of vibe?
Exquisite.
It's sort of like
Yeah.
if you know, you know,
Mm.
and
It's another weird one that's kind of a big mix of genres and things. There's a few hip hop elements in there. There's some hardcore,
Just straight up
some
punk.
Yeah, it's all sorts of stuff
Yeah,
going
everything.
on, and really, really intense high energy. It seems so that could be a very exciting one.
I think depending on timings, it'd be quite nice to see Amity Affliction again.
Yeah.
We've been
I was about to
fortunate
say,
a
yeah.
few
Never seen
times. Just absolute bangers. There's a new album coming out.
well,
At time of recording,
Yeah.
roughly at the moment.
well,
so
in 2 days at time
in
of
2
recording.
days, so
all
very
the
intrigued.
singles are suggesting that it's going to be a very heavy album, which is welcoming. I mean, they've done a lot of different stuff on recent albums, some a bit more relaxed and a bit more sort of reserved, which I still enjoy, and I love their back catalogue, and I think this new album is going to add some, a few drops of spice into their set, which is very welcome.
And then they're showing a film on that stage afterwards.
What was that? Sorry.
After Amity Affliction, they're showing a film.
Which? What film?
Avatar. It says Avatar. That's the joke. The joke is that Avatar's on that stage.
Thanks, Alex. I knew you'd have my back.
I'm surprised you haven't said yet, Alex, about Behemoth.
I'm very, very excited for Behemoth. I was absolutely gutted when they supported Slipknot on the most recent tour that we went to. We completely missed their set because we were in Spoons drinking Jaeger bombs.
It was, yeah.
Metal as fuck.
And we arrived, and some guy walked past us while we were in the queue with a absolutely fucked nose. It
I
was
still remember that
like this
distinctly.
bloody busted nose.
Every which way on his face, just mashed up.
Behemoth are fucking sick, and I think I hate to use this word normally, but as far as black metal goes, I would say if you're new to that genre, accessible. I don't like
I'd
using that
agree.
word,
I'd agree.
but particularly live, and I think people will be surprised at how catchy and sing along and sort of how hook filled a lot of their set will be, and I'm just very, very excited.
Jumping back to the Dogtooth stage quickly as well, sort of midday, we've got Green Lung, which I feel like, again, this is potentially preaching to the choir, but they're essentially like Electric Wizard, Black Sabbath, sort of like your classic sort of like stoner rock metal, and the vocals are delivered in quite I would say, honestly, an Ozzy Osbourne-esque way. You can tell that the gentleman was probably raised on a diet of just Black Sabbath. But we love to see it, and that will be a good sort of midday set to probably eat more noodles and chill.
We've talked a lot about the Dogtooth stage on this Sunday.
I've noticed that,
Pretty
yeah.
stacked, isn't it?
Parkway Drive, how do we feel about them?
Very excited, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sort of conjures to me the same sort of feelings about Architects, in the sense that this is maybe
An audition.
like a dip in the toes in the water of what sort of crowd and what sort of show they can put on. I mean, their recent headline shows have been full of pyro and fire and just theatrics, and I think they've been around for so long now that they have started to sort of transcend the metalcore roots that they maybe were known for. Yeah, I feel like this is a very, very exciting booking, and brilliant for them to be before Slipknot. Sort of maybe brings a new audience to them, for people that maybe might not know, the older Slipknot fans that are going to be stood around waiting for Slipknot are going to be able to watch Parkway Drive. I think that's
Or sat in their camping chairs.
or sat in their camping chairs. Yeah.
Oh, Ghost. Boo.
No, not a fan.
No, sorry. Anyone here excited for Ghost?
No.
No, not the slightest.
I think it will be interesting. I know we probably won't even see their set, but in terms of looking at pictures and footage after the fact, it'd be interesting to see how big their crowd is and what sort of show they put on. But I'm not interested.
I reckon their audience will be gigantic. But I won't be anywhere near it because I've got to wash my hair.
So I guess, should we have a little recap and sort of name a couple of bands that we're most excited for across the weekend?
For me, it's a very basic answer, but it's double Metallica. I don't think I might ever get this opportunity to see them again, because I don't feel like forking out hundreds of quids for a headline show. So it's going to be unmissable for me.
It's really hard to pick just two that you're most excited for, because there's so much that I'm excited for on here. But I think Pendulum's set is probably going to be a highlight of the weekend.
Yes.
And I'm very intrigued to see how Bring Me the Horizon go down. I think they're going to be awesome.
If I'm going with two, it's going to be Slipknot and Stray. Just two of my favourite bands. Seeing them on back-to-back days is going to be incredible. It's going to be a cardio exercise. I think over these 4 days anyway. But I think that's Saturday and Sunday. A lot of running around, a lot of jumping.
I feel like whatever I'm going to say when I listen to this back, I'm going to be like, no, like my opinion will change. But I think just on this, I'm going to say for the time being, and this is you probably every time you ask me, it will change. But for right now, Slipknot and Coheed and Cambria.
Let us know in the comments who you're most excited to see at Download Festival 2023. We're going to be there. If you see us around, come and say hello. We will be vlogging every single little bit of excitement that happens, and even some of the boring stuff.
We had Takedown Festival recently, so go check out our vlog from that. Had such a fantastic time there. Get excited for festival season. We've got all of last year's vlogs up on the channel. Go and check out the stuff from Download Festival last year and see how much fun we had and the amazing memories you can have there. If you're going as well, just get hyped.
Watch last year's vlog here.
That it?